Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, Hanukkah Healing. My name is Hana, and on this channel I share with you the spiritual and esoteric wisdom of Vedic Astrology, yoga, Ayurveda, and more to hopefully guide you on your path of healing and transcendence. And today I'm going to be talking about the full moon that we have happening on April 12th/April 13th, depending where you are in the world, in Chitra Nakshatra in the constellation of Virgo. So if you're interested in learning more about this upcoming full moon, stay tuned. Okay, so I have taken a little bit of time offline the last few weeks, some of you might have noticed. And the reason for that is because I was moving through a lot during the eclipse portal and then the concurrent move of Shani into Pisces, as well as just dealing with, I would say, the external manifestation of those transits in my own life. And I was in Bali and I had to rush back to the United States to deal with some family matters that are really, really deep and intense for me. So yeah, I have been moving through so much, and for me, I tend to really be a lot in my own personal process and feeling, and there can be parts of me that really don't want to be seen. Like, I want to go into my shell and go into my own underworld and just be in that bardo for as long as possible. And that's the Scorpio in me. And yeah, at the same time, I feel like it's when we are in our deepest, most intense moments that we do come alive to our truest, rawest power. And we also are the most relatable. And that's something that I want to deepen into more on this channel. Like, I love sharing the astro updates with y'all, and I'm gonna keep doing that. And at the same time, like, I want to share more of my own story and my struggles and my growth and my inspiration and everything like that. Because at the end of the day, I'm a human and I am practicing yoga, and I have been on a spiritual path since I was like 14 years old, but I'm not perfect. Like, I am a special flavor of effed up, just like everyone. And I say that because I have seen a lot on my path, and I'll probably make a different video sometime about my path, but there can be this tendency on the spiritual path, the yoga path, when we're part of different yoga lineages or whatever, to try to make it seem like we have it all together. And I can even fall into this. I can be like, oh, I'm this spiritual yogini teacher, coach, guide, and sure, I'm that, but like, I'm also like my attachment style and my wounding and my trauma and my triggers and the parts of me that are so perfectly imperfect. And I want to, as it feels natural, bring those to these videos so they can be things that we can share and relate on together. And I feel like it actually makes the yoga and the practices and the astrology and the spirituality more embodied, right? Because we wouldn't actually need astrology or yoga or anything like that if everything was perfect and ideal. It's really in the mess that we can deepen and eradicate our patterns and come to deeper levels of understanding about ourselves and about how we can really heal. And like I've talked about in some other videos on this channel, like, our soul has this divine soul mission. When we pass away, when we leave one body, which is very Piscean, which we have the stellium, these 6 planets in Pisces right now, we leave one body and we start over again. Aries, we start over again. But in that in-between phase, in that gandanta, in that joint, in that sensitive space, our soul goes to a liminal space and reflects and decides, whoa, what are the lessons I've integrated and what are the lessons I'm choosing to learn and heal in my next life? And then we choose our body, we choose our parents, we choose where we live, we choose our karma, and boom, that is our Rashi chart, that is our Vedic Astrology chart, that is our soul blueprint and our soul map. And then we live that. We go through life living that. And Vedic astrology is meant to help us break through these old patterns. And some of them are ancestral and karmic and gnarly, and they're not easy. And I was speaking to a teacher that I really, really love about some patterns of mine, like a pattern that I still want validation, for pretty surface level stuff sometimes. And just owning that, like owning, oh, there's this part of me that needs validation, even though the spiritual seeker in me knows that that's not really what it's all about. Like, yeah, cool, I need validation, no problem, And yeah, I think that's really what Vedic astrology and Jyotish helps us with at a deeper level, is to know ourselves and to know our patterns. And actually what I'm speaking about, which you're probably like, what the heck, where's the full moon update? Actually, it kind of is a really cool map of the sky. Like what I'm talking about is kind of fitting. And what I mean by that is this full moon is happening in sidereal Virgo, which is a constellation and a sign that I would like to say is the pedantic perfectionist sign. Maybe that's my judgment of Virgo, because I actually have a lot of Virgo ascendant friends and I kind of love them. So I hope that I'm not offending anyone. But Virgo can be kind of like that, like structure, it's an earth sign, perfectionistic. However, Virgo is aspected by Pisces, which is the sign of dissolving and no boundaries and flowing and dying to the ego and everything like that. And so they're kind of polar opposites, and yet, as we know with the tension of the opposites, everything is inextricably linked, two sides of the same coin, because we live in a world of duality. And so what I'm kind of talking about is how spiritually, like within my own story, it's like there's this part of me that wants to seem perfect, the Virgo, but then there's this part of me that really doesn't care and just wants to dissolve and feel and forget it all. And so I guess I'm on this journey of trying to integrate that, and what better time than this full moon time. Okay, so now the full moon in Virgo. Before I start talking about this, I think I have to speak a little bit about this massive stellium that's going on in Pisces, which I have talked about. But at the time that this full moon is going to be happening in Virgo, it's going to be receiving the aspect of all of these planets in Pisces. We've got Rahu, the head of the snake there. The Jayagraha, or shadow planet, is there aspecting onto this moon. We have Saturn there. Saturn just moved into Pisces, so that's huge. Mercury, who's recently stationed direct on April 7th. And then on the same day, Venus is also going to be stationing direct in Pisces. This is Venus's point of exaltation and its most juicy position in the sky. And then of course Surya Dev, the sun, is going to be just in the final degrees of Pisces in Revati, which is a Gandanta point, because then the sun will be transitioning into Aries, into sidereal Aries. And yeah, just a reminder again that I do use the sidereal system of astrology as opposed to the tropical system. So technically, according to traditional Indian Vedic astrology, Aries season is going to commence on April 13th this year, as the sun will just be entering that sign. And so this full moon really is like a time of new beginnings. You probably felt this energy right after the eclipse, right after Shani Maharaj moved, after the solar eclipse. There was like this feeling in the collective. I certainly felt it, and I know a lot of you felt it. A lot of you shared this with me, and other people I know and follow on social media said this too, is like, whoa, there's like this new beginning energy happening right now. And yes, of course, it's a new beginning. I mean, this was when Eid, the end of Ramadan, happened as well, and Nyepi, the Balinese New Year, was going on, and so many traditional beautiful cultures see this time as a new beginning. And then when we have the full moon after this time, it's really like anchoring in that feeling of new beginnings, which is really, really beautiful. And then this particular full moon is happening in Virgo, in the final nakshatra of Virgo, which is called Chitra. And Chitra is known as one of the brightest constellations in the sky, and it's really connected to this energy of the Divine Mother and the child who is entering into the lap of the Divine Mother. It's a very bright and very sweet and nourishing energy, and it's also very playful and creative. And it's also very much linked to the nakshatra before Chitra, which is Hasta. And Hasta nakshatra is the healing hand, and the ability to move energy through our being, to move healing energy through our being and heal with our hands by playing music, through dance, through cooking, through art, through Reiki, through massage. And the themes of Hasta really carry into Chitra as well. They're very much connected to each other. And something that's really kind of like a medicine point with Hasta and Chitra is non-attachment and letting go and not gripping on to the same ideas. So this is a really good time to examine patterns in your life that maybe you're ready to finally release and let go of. And I was kind of talking about this a little bit in the eclipse videos as well, but I think this is kind of the time where we can start to put those plans into action instead of just ruminating on what am I ready to let go of. Okay, like what are the steps? And what's really interesting about this time in general is we can't rely on the old steps or the old practices or measures we might have put in place in the past. And what I mean by that is oftentimes when we are dealing with a challenge, we might have certain ideas, concepts, notions of how we could go about resolving that issue. But to really eradicate a pattern, oftentimes something different is needed. Something out of left field is needed. And it might be something that we've never tried before or never thought of before. Or it might be something that we think isn't possible. Like, oh, I couldn't do that. Like, oh, I really want to move forward in this way in my life, but I don't know how I can make it work. And we might be looking outside of ourselves for the answers and for the map of how to do that. But the irony is during this time, we get to be the map makers. We get to forge that new path. And there might be a few different things that we're thinking of, and we might think, well, it's either this or it's this. But what if it's both? What if there's a way to have it all? And this is a really, really good time for that, for visioning new pathways, new ways of being, really dropping the limiting beliefs. So something that you could do during this time, during this full moon, is to examine your occurring world and the assumptions and notions you have about life, the limiting beliefs, and try to think the opposite thought. And really believe in yourself. Be the teacher, be the guide that you wish you had, and not let these limiting beliefs get in the way. Also, on the exact same day as this full moon, Venus is going to be stationing direct in Pisces. And this is very much a theme of the full moon as well, which is really examining our relationships and changing for the better in our love lives and in our romantic lives. Chitra nakshatra in particular is a really sort of sensual, sexy, romantic section of the sky. It's kind of Venusian in a way. Like when the moon is in Chitra, it's a good time to like go shopping, buy a new house, like purchase real estate, make love, cook something beautiful, buy jewelry, get dressed up. Let your sparkle come through. And of course, Venus in Pisces, like Venus loves no other part of the zodiac more than Pisces, because it really is that sign and energy of divine merging. And Venus retrograde, the Venus retrograde we've been experiencing for about the past 6 weeks, you might have felt really, really reflective about relationships. You might have been feeling like is the relationship I'm in right for me? Or am I even wanting to be in a relationship? Or you might have just been looking at yourself, examining your attachment style or old patterns in relationships and things that you want to do differently. Or you might have felt stuck. You might have been back and forth about an issue in a relationship. You might have felt like, oh, my partner and I have this thing and we just can't quite figure out a way forward. That energy should start to lift now, and you should be able to finally absorb all of the juicy benefits of Venus transit in Pisces, and that will last for about a month as well. So that should be really, really, nourishing and juicy. And at the same time, there's a lot of other energy going on in Pisces. So there's a lot to move through. There still could be a lot of confusion, like with Venus there, with so many other grahas or planets there. It can still be confusing because they're all conjoined. They're all influencing each other. So it will be interesting. I would be super interested to hear in the comments what's been going on for you on a romantic level, but also on a personal level, for sure. Yeah, and then something I want to say, kind of like shifting back to what I was speaking about earlier and my own tendencies of perfection and wanting to seem like I have it all together, or not wanting myself to be seen when I'm in a difficult moment in my life, and wanting to dive into the depths underneath the surface of myself and isolate. It's, even though I don't have a very Virgo forward chart, I think that these themes of Virgo are kind of there, and they're kind of showing up within me to be looked at, because it's like, why do I have to have it all together? I've been saying lately, like, I'm in my hot mess era and just trying to own it and be like, it's okay for things to be falling apart. It's okay to be a hot mess. And this is something that I think about a lot when I practice dance, when I practice ecstatic dance, is like, whatever emotion that I'm feeling, to like magnify it to a level 10 and express it. And I think this is a really good practice during this time, is like, whatever it is that you're dealing with, really allow yourself to feel it, like really be in it, like really express it. It's a really good time for personal practice, maybe just setting a space and whatever it is you're feeling or going through, like putting on some music and allowing yourself to move and feel. It's a really good time for sensuality in general. And it's a good time to let go of perfectionism, because honestly, perfectionism is boring AF, and I'm here to say it loud and clear. So yeah, that's my update for now. I would like to share more updates, but I would also like to share more videos on other topics. I have some ideas, so I'm gonna be, when the moment is right, making some more videos. And in the meantime, you can definitely, if you want, leave me a comment, or any questions that you have, leave them in the comments. And I also do offer Vedic Astrology readings, natal chart readings. If you're interested in that, I'll try to leave some links in the comment section below. And something that I don't talk about on this channel is that I also offer relationship and intimacy coaching for couples and individuals, as well as the astrology coaching. So if you ever wanted to book privates with me, you can totally do that too. And it's just been really, really nice to share with you today. Thank you for listening if you made it to the end of this video, and let me know how you're feeling. Let me know how you're feeling relationally, how the full moon energy is affecting you, and any other questions you might have in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe if you're down on these videos. Okay, I'll talk to you soon. Hari Om Tat Sat.